Hello and welcome to the Anything Flies podcast. We are in week 4 of the college football season. We're going to talk about some marquee matchups here and just the overall AP poll.
Yeah, to start the AP poll, Miami Hurricanes jumped to number 2. This is the highest they've been in the AP poll since 2017. Some more notable moves. Oklahoma moved up 7 spots, or not 7 spots, moved up to number 7 after their win versus Auburn. And then Indiana jumps 8 spots after beating Illinois by 53. So a lot of movement. Still, big names are standing in the top 5, though. Not a lot of movement going on there, excluding Miami.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know really the thought process behind some of the AP polls picks. I feel like Indiana deserves to be in the top 10. They're outside of it, correct?
I believe they are 11.
I don't know why they wouldn't be a top 10 team.
Home game.
They beat them by
They hung up
50
They hung up 63 on the team. So,
I mean, regardless if you think Illinois was overrated or not, I don't know why you wouldn't have them up farther. And yeah, I mean, Oklahoma obviously took care of business of Auburn. Maybe you could argue maybe that they're higher, but AP poll's been a little weird this year. They definitely have, I don't know, shown some sort of bias. I can't tell what kind of bias it is yet, but yeah.
we could see some more movement after this week if LSU does fall to Ole Miss, and we'll get to that game later.
Yeah, moving on to the Saturday slate. First up, we just got 21 USC at 23 Illinois. Like we mentioned, Illinois is coming off of a beatdown against Indiana, and this would be a key win to get their season back on track.
Yeah, I completely agree. After that loss, a lot has to be going on in that facility. But with a win like this versus a 21 ranked team in USC, can get them right back where they need to be to have a run and make the playoffs.
I think this is a must-win for Illinois to make the playoffs. You'll have to think they lose to Ohio State later in the year, and maybe
especially after that Indiana performance.
Yeah. Illinois offensive line is just terrible. So if Indiana can get to them, who knows what Ohio State's going to do to them? And you got to think that they're losing to at least they might lose their rivalry game. Maybe not, but I feel like this is a must-win. If they don't win this, their hopes of winning the Big Ten and making the playoffs are cooked.
Next up, we got OSU going into Washington to play an undefeated Washington team. Washington's a very hard place to play, just with the atmosphere, the weather, and the travel all added up.
Yeah, I think it's a trap game, honestly. I know they've had the bye week, and you've had a whole week and a half, 2 weeks to prepare for this team in this game. But Washington's a sneaky good team. They're 3-0. And, I mean, like you said, going across 3 time zones to get to this game, long travel, and like you said, weather could be a factor. So I think OSU's going to come out there alive, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's ugly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's going to be Julian Sain's first road test, obviously, and it's going to be his first test since the Texas game. So we'll see how he does. He's been doing good so far. Couple picks in the last couple games, but most of them have just been tips that the opposing team luckily caught. So nothing too worried about there. But yeah, we'll be interested to see how Ohio State travels. Obviously, when Washington isn't ranked, but they have potential to be ranked here in the upcoming weeks.
Next up, we got number 4 LSU at number 13 Ole Miss. LSU. First big game besides the opening week against Clemson. They had Florida on their schedule, but Florida hasn't turned out as well, and this is just going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, I think week to week, as we move on, LSU's schedule is just getting weaker and weaker. Clemson's, I think, has dropped out of the AP poll. Florida is officially unranked, and they've been unranked for 2 weeks now, I believe. I think this is a crucial game for LSU to win. Yet alone Ole Miss. Ole Miss bringing in LSU could be a great home victory. And I haven't looked too much into Ole Miss's schedule, but I would imagine there's lots of opportunities down the road, but at the same time, a tough schedule down the road. So any win is crucial for them.
Yeah, I agree. I'll be interested to see how Garrett Nussmeier does. People have been saying he's the Heisman hopeful. Honestly, some of them have said they're the Heisman candidate that they think through 3 weeks, and we'll see how he does against his Ole Miss defense. At Ole Miss, it's going to be a hostile environment, so we'll see how he holds up. And I think it's really if Garrett plays a good game, then LSU wins.
Next, we got number 6 Oregon going into the whiteout at Penn State. College game day is going to be there. It's going to be loud. This is going to be the game of the week, and it could be an early contender for game of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is important game for James Franklin.
For sure.
Last year, he didn't really win it. They didn't win a big game in the regular season, and arguably they didn't really win that big of a game in the playoffs. I mean, it was a playoff victory, but they played SMU at home, and then they played Boise State, which, other than Genty, they had nothing. So I think if this would be James Franklin's first big win in a while.
I'd agree. Not to mention this is the Big Ten championship rematch.
Yep.
Oregon came out on top of that game, obviously, last year. But a lot different squad from Oregon this year. Penn State's more like it was last year, although they did lose guys like Tyler Warren and guys like that. Once again,
I am interested to see who becomes Penn State's playmaker. I feel like every year they have not just one guy, but they have one guy on the offense that they can rely on in third and fourth downs. And so we'll see who that is this year.
Yeah, and not to mention, or like you mentioned, it's going to be a home game, whiteout. Going to be a great atmosphere. I mean, this is what the Big Ten was hopeful to see with adding teams like Oregon in their expansion, and they're finally having it pay off.
Yeah, I think an interesting thing to note is that I think Penn State has the upper hand here with Jim Knowles as their defensive coordinator.
True.
Saw him twice last year and ultimately played pretty well games on the defensive side for both games, but ultimately prevailed. So if you're a Penn State fan, you're hopeful. Last but not least, we got 17 Alabama going into Athens, Georgia to play the number 5 team in the nation.
Yeah, this is one of the games that you could argue would be on College Game Day. Just two blue bloods of the SEC going at it, just like old times. It won't be as meaningful as past matchups, just because Alabama's already lost the game. Kalen DeBoer, I don't know how good he's doing with the team, to be honest with you. This would be huge for. I feel like this is the same thing as James Franklin. This would be a huge, big-time win for him if they end up going into Georgia and winning. But I just don't see it happening. I've got Georgia.
This would be a huge, big-time win, but Georgia hasn't lost a game at home in 34 games. And with the way Alabama is trending right now, with their bad loss to FSU early in the year, and just kind of how they've progressed, which they haven't really progressed throughout the year, this is, I think, a critical moment in Kalen DeBoer's coaching career and in this Alabama's culture and program to see what they're truly made of.
Yeah, I mean, I think on top of it, I think Georgia's going to take the momentum from winning that Tennessee game in the fashion that they did. They had no business beating Tennessee, especially the way it ended. So I think Georgia's going to take that momentum, and they're going to come out firing against this Alabama team.
Yeah, I think this is a big game for Bama, for the fans, for the players, for the recruits, for the school, for the coaches. I think this is a must-win game for the whole crowd of Alabama fans.
Completely agree. All right, let's move into this week's watch list. I'm going to just start off with my what I'm looking for this week. I'm going to be paying close attention to Drew Aller and how he'll do. This is a big game, big moment for him as a college quarterback and for himself in the NFL, just to show people what he's made of. And I think it's career defining. I think this is a great test early in the year, but at the same time, there's a lot on the line here. Penn State has pretty much two big matchups this year, and it's Ohio State and Oregon. And they haven't done well against Ohio State lately. Drew Aller's actually 0-3 against Ohio State, and most likely going to be 0-4. I hate to say it. So if they can't get this win, that means they're going to probably have 2 losses, and that's going to be hard to make the playoffs this year. So I think that's big in itself. But on top of it, like Alexander mentioned and like we mentioned before, James Franklin also hasn't done great in these big games, and they're trying to get their revenge from the Big Ten championship loss last year. So I think it's going to be a great game no matter what happens. You know, we got the whiteout. It's always fun to watch. Just going to be paying a little closer attention to Drew Aller. And not to mention he hasn't started this year off great. Last year, there's a lot of hype around him, and then into this year as well. But he's been playing okay, just not great. So I'll be paying attention to Drew Aller this weekend.
Yeah, I think the thing I'll be most watching for is in the other primetime game, Alabama-Georgia we just talked about. Georgia's offense has been a little stagnant at some points, so I'm interested to see how they do coming off of this Tennessee game. They scored a decent amount of points, clearly enough to get the win. They've scored enough to get the win every time, but week 2 they played some low-level FBS or FCS team, and they had starters in the whole game because they just didn't score enough points. So I'm interested to see how they do in basically a rivalry game, and just see if they can continue to be consistent with their offense week in, week out. And if so, I think Georgia's pretty much set up to make a deep run into the college football playoff. But if not, I think they're really going to struggle come in a couple weeks when their schedule really toughens up.
One thing about the Alabama-Georgia game, usually this is like a matchup that everybody's looking forward to because they're great teams. But I think we're looking forward to it today because, or not today, but this week because, one, Alabama's struggling. And 2, honestly, Georgia's struggling as well. So we're trying to just see what they're really made of.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia's been a sneak at 3 now.
Exactly. None of them have played great. Alabama's definitely struggling in the last year and a half. And honestly, to some Georgia fans' standards, they've been struggling too.
Yeah. The thing I'm looking for is the Ole Miss LSU game. LSU has 5 ranked teams on their schedule right now, including Ole Miss. Already 4-0, already beat Clemson. But like we said, that win's getting less and less important for their schedule, for the resume. Ole Miss only has 3 teams in the top 25, so this is more of a crucial win for Ole Miss, more of a crucial win for Lane Kiffin. I think he's kind of in the category of James Franklin in the SEC, just can't beat the big guys over there in the SEC. So I think this is a good game for Lane Kiffin to put on his resume. I definitely think this LSU team is beatable. If they only beat Florida by 10, I think Ole Miss should be able to give them a run, especially at home.
One last question. What is the one game that if you had to watch one through this whole Saturday slate, what would you pick?
I'm going to have to go with Oregon and Penn State solely for a couple of reasons. One, because it's whiteout.
Mm-hmm. Got to watch it.
Whiteouts are always fun to watch. 2, I'm interested to see how these 2 teams that were high contenders last year recover from losing guys to the draft. And then I'm also just excited to see – I'm interested to see how this Penn State defense looks in the Jim Knowles defense, because for the Ohio State team, it took them about 2 to 3 years to really get the Jim Knowles defense down and for it to really work. The first 2 years, that was the worst part of their team was their defense. So I'm interested to see how the Jim Knowles era starts in Penn State.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at the Alabama-Georgia game. I know I put a lot of importance on this, but I just think this is a pivotal matchup for not only the college football playoff, but also the SEC championship. If Alabama wins, you got 2 teams 3-1. Both honestly still have a great chance to make the playoffs. But Georgia wins. Georgia's pretty much coasting into the SEC championship for the most part. Obviously, they need to still take care of business. And they'd still be coasting into the college football playoffs. And then you get Alabama loses. Their season's basically, they need to go undefeated from there on out to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I kind of want to say Oregon, Penn State, which I will be watching that this weekend. But if I had to watch one, it'll be LSU, Ole Miss, just because I'm not really sold on the LSU team, especially because
I'm not sold on Garrett either.
Exactly. So their one ranked game is against Clemson, who is now 1-3, and Dabo Swinney has not been the same since they got blown out by Ohio State back in 2020, and it's true. You can look at the records. So I think Brian Kelly is finally clicking down at LSU, but I don't know if he's clicking to the extent that people are making it out to be. And I think this is a true test. Ole Miss is always a great football team. You're going into Ole Miss too, so it's not like they're coming to LSU's place. So I think we'll really find out what LSU is all about this weekend, and eventually you're going to find out about all these teams, but sooner rather than later is better. That's all we have, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys for always supporting us. Let us know what you guys think about these Saturday slate of game, who you got winning, and what matchup you're most excited for. But that's all we have. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.